Thank you all for coming to our thyroid class tonight. I'm Dr. Charles Kelsey, and this is Dr. Vicki Kelsey, and we are both studying to become chiropractic neurologists. I would like for you to go to acnb.org, and you'll see that there are only 5 certified chiropractic neurologists here in Indiana, and fewer than 250 in the United States. It's a very difficult degree to attain. And once you've attained it, it's very difficult to sustain it because it takes quite a bit of study and continued classwork. I also would like for you to go to lifechangingcare.com and click on thyroid, and you will find 200 to 250 other people just like you suffering with thyroid condition who had their lives given back to them. Okay? So, I'd like to share a thought with you. If the attitude is right, the facts do not matter. As an example, one of the toughest thyroid conditions that we treated in our office successfully was a very nice lady whose thyroid gland was removed. It took about 6 months to get her health back, and this last summer she told me that she went mountain climbing with her son and her husband. That was pretty exciting.
We have thyroid receptors in every cell in our body, and these enable us to enable the metabolic processes in every cell. It's a physiological impossibility to have only thyroid symptoms because your whole homeostasis and your whole body function is thrown into disarray when your thyroid isn't working correctly. What we're going to do, if you let us help you, is to return your body to a state of balance and let those thyroid receptors do their job and let the thyroid hormone do its job in your body. So if you have thyroid symptoms, a lot of times you have brain symptoms as well, because in the brain cells there are also thyroid receptors, and when those aren't working right, then your brain isn't working right. For instance, the parietal lobe is connected with pain, and if I were to come and hit you in the shoulder, it wouldn't be surprising that you had pain. But if you're sitting here with pain in your shoulder for no reason, that means that your parietal lobe is being affected. If you are having trouble going to the bathroom, and one of the worst we've seen was only 1 bowel movement a month, that means your insular cortex is being affected. And so thyroid and brain problems cause a web of physiological dysfunction. Now we're going to talk about the metabolic assessment form, which is available on another part of this website. On the metabolic assessment form, category number 1 and 2, category number 1 has to do with the colon. And if you look on that, you'll see 0s, 1s, 2s, and 3s. If you have anything but 0s, that means that you do have a symptom that can be related to your colon. And if you have a bunch of 3s, that means you have a lot of problems all the time. So here beside category 1, write down colon. And if you mark down 1, 2s, or 3s, that means you're having a colon problem. So draw a line then from your brain to your colon on your paper. So, Mr. Smith, I see you've had thyroid problems for 15 years, and you've got some brain-based problems and some colon problems. How many doctors have you been to that have addressed your colon problems? None? So how are you going to get better if the doctor doesn't work with you on your colon and your thyroid? It can't happen. So that's why we address the whole person, not just one symptom or another. So one reason you don't have just thyroid symptoms is because of not being able to convert T4 to T3. And we'll go over that in a little bit. Now, category number 2 and 3 have to do with the stomach. Our stomachs are the first line of defense against bacteria and other things that we might ingest, like viruses. If we don't have enough acid in our stomach and the pH is too high, that's called hypochlorhydria, and that means some of those bacteria and viruses can get past the stomach. We find a lot of people that are on Prilosec or other acid stoppers actually don't have enough stomach acid, and that is causing their symptoms. So the acid stoppers keep you from absorbing calcium, and then you end up with brittle bones. 70% of the people that have chronic health problems actually don't have enough acid in their stomach, and that contributes to the high percentage of fractures in the elderly that we're seeing these days. Colon and stomach. Category number 4 is your small intestine. Your intestines digest 90% of the food that you eat. So if your small intestine is breaking down, you're not going to digest your food properly, which is going to cause health issues.
So 80% of your immune system is in the gut, and a high percentage of people have a condition that is medically described as a leaky gut. And it's been medically proven that if you have a leaky gut, it will also affect the brain. We call that a leaky brain. An analogy would be if you have a screen door and the screen is good and it keeps the insects out and lets a nice breeze come in, and if you cut it with a knife and open it up, then the insects are going to fly in. It's kind of that way with a leaky colon. If it's damaged, then the food particles go into the bloodstream and it affects the entire body, especially the brain.
So next is blood sugar. Category 6 and 7 have to do with blood sugar issues. Your blood sugar needs to run in a steady state for your brain between 85 and 99. And at least when you're fasting. It may go up some right after a meal, but your fasting blood sugar should run between 85 and 99. If it's below that, it's called hypoglycemia, and if it's above that, it's called insulin resistance, or it could even be diabetes. So whether it swings too low or too high, either one is damaging to the brain and kills brain cells. So if you mark category 6 and 7, that means your blood sugar is going like this through the day and just bouncing back and forth pretty wildly. It's almost like it's called dysglycemia, and it's almost like a trampoline effect on your brain.
So category 8 and 9 are the adrenal glands, and if you mark 1s, 2s, and 3s in categories 8 and 9, then you're probably suffering from memory issues. The adrenal glands are overproducing cortisol, and it's damaging a part of the brain called the hippocampus.
So cortisol interferes with the conversion of T4 to T3. If you think about that doorway over there, If we had an elephant in here, it would be very difficult for the elephant to get through the door. That is like how T4 is. It's a bigger molecule. T3 is more like a midget, and a midget could run through that door with no problem. Cortisol interferes with the conversion of the elephant to the midget. Also, the adrenal glands secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine, and norepinephrine has the capacity or the quality of collecting around pain fibers, nerve fibers, and intensifying pain. Then category number 10 and 11 are all about your problems, because those are both about thyroid. One about low thyroid symptoms and one about high thyroid symptoms.
So we find that thyroid people almost always have similar or the same symptoms. But the issue is that almost everyone has a different cause, and we have a philosophy in our office about leaving no stone left unturned, because everybody is different. It reminds me of another story, which is about two bums who are underneath a bridge, and they're trying to figure out how to get wealthy. And we all know that two bums are not likely to help each other get wealthy. They're going to need to find somebody who is wealthy to teach them how. It's the same way with getting you healthy. In order to get you healthy, you have to work with people who are already healthy and know how to get you healthy. If a person weighs 425 pounds and they advise you how to reduce weight, their credibility isn't very good. Okay? You need to deal with healthy people to get well.
So this next thing in the hierarchy is your blood sugar. We talked a little bit about how T4 has to be converted to T3, and if it isn't, then the blood sugar gets thrown off, and actually it can be the other way too. If the blood sugar is too high, that pathway of conversion will not work. So that's a problem. The third thing we have to work on usually is inflammation. Here's the amazing thing about inflammation. There are a couple of markers like C-reactive protein and homocysteine. Homocysteine, when it gets above 7, starts to affect the brain, and when it gets above 15, it starts to destroy your blood vessels. But then it also keeps you from converting the elephant into the midget, and then you can't get it into your cells. Then we have number 4, anemia. Anemia keeps the whole system from working correctly. You have to have blood sugar in the right amounts, and you have to have oxygen coming through the blood. If we asked you to hold your breath for 6 minutes, what would happen? Well, the body has a protective mechanism. You can hold your breath till you pass out. I've been told that toddlers do this, although mine never did. And then the body will begin breathing again. But if you did succeed in holding your breath for 6 minutes, you wouldn't be around anymore. The brain cannot live without oxygen for that long. If your oxygen is too low in your blood, it's not like holding your breath. It's almost like putting your hand over your mouth and trying to breathe that way. It's not going to kill you immediately, but it lowers the metabolism in the whole body and begins the process of tissue breakdown. So this is the hierarchy that we're going to be looking at.
So the last part of our class is about taking action to get well.
So it's information plus action that will change your life. The first thing you have to do, of course, is set an appointment. Thyroid is complicated enough that there are actually 24 different pathways that can be the problem, and so we need to sort that out. And we treat the patient, not the diagnosis. If you would like a chance to find out if your particular condition could respond to our approach, I recommend that you call our clinic, and the number is 260-982-4646. We have a capable staff that will be answering the phone, and they can get you the proper paperwork so that you can come in and have a complimentary consultation. Again, the number is 260-982-4646 to schedule your free consultation with Dr. Kelsey. Thank you.